We've all had it. Anxiety. How do we deal with it? On this show, we're going to be talking about many other issues besides anxiety. Uh, I'm going to discuss this. I was, uh, uh, I have been in the mental health field for 14 years, served as a counselor, and also before that did an internship and studied some in the social work and sociology and psychology, and I've grown to know this field very well. Also, on the other end, I've experienced some issues and I could relate to what people may go through. But in this episode today, I'm going to discuss about anxiety. You have an impending doom. You feel you can't handle situations. You feel you're under pressure. You feel panicky. You feel stressed. And you feel everything. And how do you handle and cope with anxiety? And from whatever I learned, anxiety can be dealt with talking to yourself in a situation. From whatever I heard, a technique is that many therapists use today is CBT, and they teach and they explain CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. Well, basically, you tell yourself, in layman terms, what am I stressed about? Why am I stressed about it? Why is it affecting me so much? And what's the reality of the situation? At least that's to my understanding. And you compare, you say, am I better now than before? In situations, you learn, you could go through the rabbit hole and you could spiral. Or you could say, you can change your attitude in a situation. And changing an attitude in a situation always helps. It's like, you could be down and depressed, and you could be anxious, and you could say, oh no, this is not going good, this is gonna affect me, this is gonna affect me there, this is gonna affect me there, I can't get this done. You feel pressured. But how do you deal with that pressure? Well, some cases, pressure isn't that bad. When it catapults you to doing what you need to do and completing your goals, pressure is not that bad. Yeah, pressure isn't bad. You know, you need that little adrenaline in you. But when it becomes overwhelming and you are left in a state where you're constantly feeling that anxiety, it might be time to check it out with your doctor and see what they say, and maybe they could tweak on that end. But on this end, where you're dealing with it, that's anxiety. It's you have the highest stress. So anxiety. What happens with anxiety? You have too many things on your mind, and you think, how am I going to deal with the situation? You have debt. You have to pay this. You have family and relationship issues. You have friend problems. You have work problems. You have you can name it. It's all pressuring you. You pressure to be here on time. You pressure to do whatever. Well, you know what? It's understanding and writing it down. You break it down step by step. You write everything down. And then you see how you're going to accomplish it. You see how you're going to achieve it. You see how you're going to achieve your goal. What I remember in situations, usually anxiety is telling us something in the future. Sometimes worrying too much about other people's anxiety and taking it on as your own might not be the best situation. Sometimes we might embody that emotion, but we need to keep ourselves strong in order to help others. Anxiety, with writing everything down. We need to get it out of our heads and onto paper. And we need to break it down. Not emotionalize it, but if we write things down, we come up with a plan to handle this anxiety. For example, I'm running late all the time because I feel it's 30 minutes to get to work. And I experience this a lot. At night it was 30 minutes to get to work. And you want to relieve someone. You know that you're coming from somewhere. Somebody's tying you up. And you feel that stress and anxiety. And it could be a family member, I'm going to say. A family member could be tying you up, not letting you go, talking, you may be arguing and stuff like that. And then you're racing to work, and the next thing you know, you get there, you're 15 minutes late. And this is a pattern. Whatever the situation pops up, you're 15 minutes late, and we're going to discuss the anxiety of that. Then you have people coming at you, saying you're late, you should do this, you do that, you why are you late, you shouldn't have called out, you get that barrage. Now you're someone who values work and you want to be there on time, but sometimes it's very difficult, and then you start feeling that anxiety, you even go through a breakdown because of it, and may even in some cases lose your job, and you're going to have to deal with situation when it could be an anxiety situation. Well, this is just one situation. How do you deal with it, and how do you set limits, and how do you, come whatever? In a real world, the employer doesn't care. They want you to be there and replace the employee. But some circumstances could prevent you from being there. Let's just say you have a sick family member, and as we know, in this time of COVID, a lot of family members were sick, and a lot of people were working at home because they needed to be there for their family. In a post-COVID world, that could be an option. Many people might opt to work in the house to get their job done. But, as we know, working in the house is not the best. We might not be able to accomplish what we need to accomplish at the house. We have to answer to every becking call, so that would lead to a boundary issue. And it's like, hey, I need to get this done. Give me a few minutes. Let me see from there. And, and this is an experience that many people have faced in the COVID world. It's like you're away from the office, they're working at home, they're like, they gotta attend these Zoom meetings, and it's like they wanna just get done what they need to get done, and so on and so forth. But this is all important part of the job, and the time that they do get a chance to do something, and it's up in the air, and like you have to run around, you have to get this, you have to get that. You have anxiety. It's like COVID caused anxiety for many people, and this is anxiety in another level. We're just talking about regular anxiety now. Anxiety helps prevent people from doing whatever they need to do. Anxiety can be debilitating. I've seen situations where anxiety prevented people from doing one task because they had everything running into their mind. Their neurons are going everywhere. And how do you combat from it? How do you work through it? There are some support groups out there that help you deal with these situations. I would suggest getting professional help for some of these cases. The disclaimer is like, with this podcast, I would say, before doing any of these things, like check out with your therapist or check out with your doctor, and just see what's the best solution. I could say what helps, but you gotta seek advisement for what needs to be done. Anxiety, what I find helps anxiety, as I mentioned, is a list. It's being able to accomplish things off the list. If you have this to do, that to do, everything else, like the anxieties of a party, anxieties of being somewhere, anxieties of this, you have anxieties of everything. It's like, how do we, even social anxieties, which is another situation. But, anxiety is just the tip of the iceberg. And in anxiety, it's coming up with a battle plan of not worrying in a situation. Dale Carnegie wrote in a book, I'm not sure what the book is, but he said, why do we worry about situations? Or he wrote a book on worry and how to combat it. I remember before I read a little bit of that book, I used to worry about everything. Still worry about a little bit, but I used to worry about everything. And then I read a little bit about that book, and I stopped worrying about a lot of things that I was worrying about. It helped. And I'm sure it helped many people. Worrying can causing a lot of anxiety. When you're worried about this, when you're worried about being at work in time, when you're worried about your significant other, when you're worried about your kids, when you're worried about your in-laws, when you're worried about your family, your parents, when you're worried about all these things, you just constantly worry. Well, that's why my final note at the end of this podcast is write down all of these worries. If you can in a situation, say, hey, I need a minute, let me write them down. Put it to a list and see what you can accomplish in the situation. Maybe you can't accomplish everything, but in accomplishing these small goals and a little note, maybe they could help get you to where you need to go to feel satisfied. And if you can't feel satisfied, hopefully these goals, after dealing with the anxiety, will help. And if that doesn't help, and you're still worried or whatever, maybe seeing a mental health specialist or a doctor will help. And, with that, it's a two-way street. Because you know what's going to work for you. And they're just trying to help. If you feel something's not right with that, you gotta say something. But I'm not going to be the one to judge. You're the one to judge with that. And so that's what I say, because all I know is medication can help, but it has side effects too. But you have to know what works for you. So that's what I say. A list and medication and a good therapist, and you come up with plans, you break things down, and you go on for that. That's podcast today. The podcast was on anxiety and coming up with a battle plan on how to combat some of your anxiety. If you have some issues, you could come up with solutions. And you could say, hey, I might not like this, but I can do this differently. And then you just have one list on one section on all your worries, and then you come up with at least 3 or 5 solutions on the other end. And go there and you see how everything is after that. So that's the podcast for the day. And again, this is Joseph Evaldi, and this is the new podcast. Don't have a name yet, but I'm sure the name will be appearing on the podcast thing. Alright. This is Joseph Evaldi. I'm going to just give a shout out to some companies. Shout out to Joe's Writers Club. They're doing very good things with helping writers get what they need. They're doing workshops. They're helping with ghostwriting. They're helping with editing. This is a very good site. Again, joeswritersclub.com, or check out the forum at joeswriters.club. Another thing, check out EJE Sports Club. Oh no, EJE Sports Cards. They deal with trading cards and memorabilia. They'll buy from the States, or they'll even sell from the States. It's a very good site to go to. Just mention that the Joseph Evaldi Network sent you, and you can we get a discount, and maybe you could get a discount too. Also, check out some of the stuff from the Joseph Evaldi Network. We're now on Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee with the Joseph Evaldi Network. And, just check out some of the stuff. If you like it, please support us, subscribe, and become a member. We have good features that we share, and we're still on Spreaker too. So, if anything else, check out One Main Financial. Say the Joseph Evaldi Network sent you from Joseph Evaldi, and they're very good with loans, and they help me out. There was a time where I needed a loan to cover some of the stuff from one of my credit cards, and brought it to current, paid off some of my stuff from, I want to say, some of my stuff from the phone company, and you know, it was very good. They helped out. So, you know, one main financial. It's a good place for a loan. So, I would say have a nice day. Again, this is discussion with anxiety, and discussion with anxiety, and a discussion with making a goal and how to combat it, and coming up with a plan and a process to put it in place. So, it's a podcast for today. Have a good night, and when we come up with a name for this podcast, I'm sure the name will be there, and I'm just gonna discuss about this, put up with audio, and we'll see where we go from there. So have a good night, everyone. Good morning.